Adrienne Adams was the Speaker of the City Council, but now she's the other half of Kathy Hochul's two moms slate as a running mate for Lieutenant Governor. So I guess the first question I'd like to ask you is, how is it to have two women who are mothers at the head of state government, and what kind of a message does that send to voters?
This is such a historical time right now for the state of New York. Running with this governor and knowing this governor for as long as I have, even before she was governor, she was a wonderful lieutenant governor. Kathy Hochul was everywhere, as she has been throughout her career now as governor. Being asked to run with her, by her, to be at the top of the ticket, Marcia, the first time that two women are at the top of the ticket to lead the state of New York is amazing, wonderful. I think that it is quite the model for the rest of the nation. And I keep saying, what took us so long?
How does that change how the state is governed?
There is a whole different perspective, I believe, as one who has led as a leader for the city of New York. There's a different perspective. Women have a different perspective. We lead very differently. And that's not to put men down, of course. We just lead very differently. We govern differently. We manage differently. The perspective now as two women leading the state of New York, bringing our perspective, prioritizing differently and putting working families first and children first, our communities first, the least of these, as I like to say, the most vulnerable populations first, is very, very important, especially during this time in the state of New York when so many people are hurting.
And also to push an affordability agenda.
That's right.
So I wanted to start talking to you about the affordability agenda, because one of the big issues in Albany is the idea of taxing the rich. I know there's been a lot of protests. People in the past week tried to take over the governor's office to force her hand to try to tax people who make $1 million or more. Do you think that's something that has to happen this year, or is it something that she wants to put off? And I wonder how you feel about it.
Yeah, there have been a lot of different options floating around this issue. There have been folks that say that we can take programs and services away from New Yorkers. There are people that say we can, give higher taxes to some New Yorkers. I happen to believe that the option of the pied-à-terre tax is a viable option. I mean, we're speaking about folks that have secondary residence, not the primary residence, but their secondary residence in New York. So these can be folks that can come in maybe a few times a year, but still have these beautiful, luxurious, multi-million-dollar residences, oh my God, just sitting empty for the majority of the time. I think that it is fair to ask these folks to contribute a little bit more.
So, I mean, is the argument that since they come and do use city services like police and fire and roads, that they should contribute to that?
I absolutely believe that. Some of that burden is put on everyday New Yorkers, and I don't think that that is fair. I do think that this particular tax does fill in that blank, fill in that hole where we need it to fill in.
So there's a move in Albany now to expand the pied-à-terre tax. Right now, the proposal is just to be in New York City. But some upstate people say, why not tax second homes upstate? I mean, there's plenty of upstate homes in the Catskills, second homes in the Catskills and places like that. There are also second homes in the Hamptons.
That's right.
And, suburban lawmakers are saying, give us some extra money so we can fix our roads and we can fix our bridges and things like that. How do you feel about that idea?
I don't necessarily disagree with that premise at all, because theoretically, they're absolutely right. Again, people with these secondary residences that can afford these luxurious secondary residences should absolutely contribute to the well-being of New York.
So, I guess the question is, people wonder what's the over-under on whether Albany's going to actually get it done. We're so late in terms of the budget process. But is that the kind of thing, raising money from the other areas as well, that can really help localities to do the kinds of services they think they need?
In being on this wonderful mission right now and this amazing campaign, getting out there and speaking to mayors, having conversations with them about their townships, their towns, their counties, and realizing, some of the deficit that is out there. in these upstate counties. We're talking about 62 counties. I gotta say, 62 counties that Governor Kathy Hochul hit hard when she was running for lieutenant governor.
She was at all 62.
Absolutely right. So I am doing my best also now, especially now as the weather is getting better, hopefully, that I'm going to be able to get my feet actually into these counties. But we do know that there are substantial deficits in a lot of these counties, and we've got to do better.
So I have to ask you, since you are running for office and you are running against Republican Bruce Blakeman and his running mate, some of the things that he's been proposing over the last several weeks. One of the things he unveiled just recently was his 100-day plan of what he wants to do if he's elected the first 100 days. And one of the first things he talked about was eliminating New York City and New York State, but New York City is a sanctuary city. I wonder how you feel about that, given the fact that as City Council Speaker, you had to deal with that issue as well.
I really did, and it was top of mind, and it was quite a priority for me as Speaker for the entire City Council. Look, Bruce Blakeman is running as Donald Trump's clone. This is one of Donald Trump's soldiers. I dare say that I don't believe that a majority of New York State wants Donald Trump to run our state. So we can start there. This is a person that talks about raising taxes or something that he's got his crystal ball and he is predicting that Governor Hochul will raise taxes. Bruce Blakeman has actually raised taxes.
He has?
He has.
If you listen to him, he says...
You would never believe it, right?
No, he says, I've never raised taxes in the entire time I've been county executive.
Untrue. He's raised taxes not once but twice.
When?
For Long Islanders.
Really?
It's in his record. He has raised taxes twice.
He's not going to be happy that you made that choice.
We got to, I mean, if he's telling stuff, we got to tell stuff too. But those property taxes have impacted Nassau County families, again, not once but twice. So we're listening to somebody talk about predicting the governor raising taxes, which is the antithesis of what she's been doing and what she's been running on, and putting money in people's pockets, which is her favorite phrase. We're listening to someone who has actually raised taxes, not once but twice. So, I mean, come on.
So let's talk about taxes, because one of the things in his 100-day plan is a plan to a 10% across the board income tax cut for anybody making under $250,000 a year. Plus, it would eliminate all state income taxes on the first $50,000 for anyone, a single filer or a single filer with $50,000 or a joint filer with $100,000. I mean, it's an idea that certainly sounds appealing.
It does, doesn't it? I wouldn't believe the paper that it's written on. I would like to see his record for doing such things as the Nassau County executive. I would like to see that record to back up this future plan. Governor Kathy Hochul has a record and she has a plan. Both are very, very strong, I might say, that she can stand on and say, this is what I have done for New York State, and this is what I will do, even more of what I have already done in substance for New York State. Not a prediction, but what she's already done.
Well, one of the things he also wants to do, which appeals to a lot of people in the suburbs, is that he wants to eliminate the congestion pricing tax. I know that the governor thought long and hard about imposing the congestion pricing fee. I wonder how you feel about his plan to take it off.
Well, you know, again, this is something that the governor was active in. It took her a while to come to the conclusions. The congestion, it's done. It's a done deal, and I don't see a need to look backwards, and you know.
So there's another issue that I want to talk about. The governor is fighting in Albany for new legislation that would curb the ability of ICE agents to do what they do. There's a discussion about whether they can work with localities and whatever. Mr. Blakeman has formed a strong partnership with ICE agents, working with people in working with Nassau County police officers. I wonder how you feel about that as well.
I think it's very, very interesting in the moves of ICE, the abuse of ICE, quite frankly, as this rogue entity, this rogue force now that is really terrorizing not just New Yorkers, but everyday citizens across this entire country. The mere fact that Bruce Blakeman is going to strengthen this rogue organization without any reform at all, which is something that I think that people are looking at or really want reform. He is actually looking at increasing the bad behavior of ICE. He has a MAGA militia already, and he wants to increase this behavior. Look, I visited someplace that I haven't seen Bruce Blakeman visit, and that is the town of Hempstead. A few weeks ago, I sat down with the mayor and we visited small businesses in the town of Hempstead. Marcia, on a bustling Saturday afternoon, the businesses were dead.
Why?
Because
of ICE?
Absolutely right. We got the accounts of not just customers, but from the business owners saying that their clientele was terrorized by ICE. The threat is there. So Bruce Blakeman is in favor of losing small businesses in these townships that depend on this money, this revenue, for the sustenance of the place that he's responsible for. It boggles the mind. It's very, very baffling, but very, very sad to see a restaurant, a deli, a sit-down bakery and ice cream parlor completely empty when they should have been full.
Wow.
As they were maybe a year ago or so.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it right there for now. But up next, Andrew Ryan of the Citizens Budget Commission. We are back with Adrienne Adams, who's running for Lieutenant Governor. So I'm wondering, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing New York right now?
The biggest challenge, of course, the affordability crisis, the housing crisis. I would pair those together because, you know, speaking as one who has lost part of my family to another state because of the lack of affordability here in New York, I can tell you it's tough. It's tough to find housing. It's tough to find childcare. So, you know, one of my daughters with her husband and 3 small girls are now residents of Delaware.
Wow.
Yeah, could not afford childcare in New York.
So what are you and the governor going to do about that? I know that the governor has a plan. Do you think it's enough?
There has to be more, and we are absolutely going to keep on the same road that we are. Again, the governor's phrase is putting money in people's pockets. This has been her mantra. It is my mantra as well in looking forward to creating spaces that people do have places. Universal childcare, huge step forward in doing that. My daughter actually tells me, if I had that, Mom, I'd still be in New York. They don't want to leave New York, they want to stay here. So it's going to be putting forth plans like that and a lot of other plans as well. I started some things in the council when it came to making sure that, or trying to stop homelessness before it ever starts, and that's with universal finances for folks, single parents and others, to start their lives out.
So why did you accept the governor's offer to be a running mate?
My gosh. December 31st, 2025, as you know, I was done, outgone. Not sadly, happily. You know, I had a great run. I'm not a career politician. You know, I started out in corporate America in the private sector. I was going to have some downtime, perhaps take a look at the private sector, had a lot of people going, me, 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 me. So the offers were there, and I was quite happy, you know, just taking a look back and saying, wow, you know, I'm going to, you know, do something else now. But then came the call from my friend, Governor Kathy Hochul. Adrienne, let's sit down and talk. Okay. We sat down and we talked. I met with her. And at one point during our conversation, she says, you know, the media doesn't have this right at all. They have me asking different people for a certain role. I haven't asked anybody. You're the person that I want to ask. Adrienne, will you be my lieutenant governor? I was stunned and shocked, and all I could do was say, let's go, Kathy. Yeah, let's do it. So
what's it like going from being a local official in New York City, that's not exactly local, but local, and now you're running for statewide office? What's the difference? The
difference is the bigger view, the bigger picture of not just the state of New York City, but the state of the entire state of New York State. I've known these legislators for such a long time, senators, assembly members, and others for such a long time. Great relationships with a whole lot of them who are very excited about having me on the ticket as well. I'm proud of that. So having the opportunity to work with them and get to really step into their world with them is extremely exciting for me. Very, very challenging. It presents a challenge that I haven't seen before as a city elected official. And now at this broader picture, I am so up for it, so excited about it.
You know, the mayor election brought in a lot of younger voters. I wonder how you understand and relate to the hopes and aspirations of a younger generation.
Great question. My successor in District 28 in Queens, Ty Hankerson, the youngest council member, I believe, right now, who was elected to succeed me in District 28 as the member, now represents exactly that population of youth, of younger minds, brilliant minds, his staff, young folks, brilliant young folks with ideas, but also with a background, substantial backgrounds in their communities. I'm really excited for them and to work.
Are the hopes and dreams of younger people different than older generations?
I believe so. A lot of us have lived, we've seen, but the experiences of our younger people are quite different than yours and mine coming up. They're different in the way that we were raised, in our thinking in a lot of spaces, in the ways that we are projecting onto our future. This generation is now coming up with AI as their best friend.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I still have a hard time. My daughter's going, "Hey, you got to get with ChatGPT, Mom." I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. You know, I write. I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm used to doing my own.
I totally get that. So, who do you turn to for advice?
Oh my goodness, for advice. There are so many people that I turn to for advice. My husband is my number one advisor in life. But as far as other things, I have clergy that I turn to. I also have my mentor, the Attorney General of the state of New York, Letitia James.
She's a really smart lady.
She's a wonderful, wonderful
So
friend.
when was the last time you had a really good laugh?
Oh, it was, I laugh all the time. And I've got a sense of humor as well that, you know, my family knows that I'll just take you there.
So you laugh all the time?
All the time, love to laugh. And it was probably on one of these crazy Instagram reels that my daughter sends me about dogs talking or something.
I totally get it. So running for office is a real time-consuming thing.
Yeah.
When you have downtime, how do you spend it?
I spend it at home with my family. I love to cook. So
I know that.
You know that about me. So, Marsha, I made a mean beef stew the other day. Oh my God, in the crock pot. We'll talk.
So since we're in the topic of cooking, stuffing is one of my Thanksgiving major things, and I know
my mom,
you like to make stuffing too. So I would like you to share with me your recipe so I can get some tips from you.
Oh my gosh, Marsha, I haven't even shared that with family members.
Okay, it's a
my
top
mother
secret.
gave me that recipe.
So it's a family recipe.
It is a family recipe passed down.
You know what's a raising thing about that is that I make a recipe my mother handed down to me.
Same.
And here's the truth. When I have to cook for Thanksgiving, I have to make extra pans of stuffing.
Me too.
So each of my kids can take home a pan of stuffing for leftovers. Not a little bit, they want an entire pan.
Yes. See, that's me and my sister, because she won't do it. She's terrified of the recipe. She's terrified to get in there for those 2 hours and make that stuffing. So I've got to make, you know, the stuff for me. And I've got to make it for her family, like a whole pan of it for her family, separate.
So, is there anything special about your stuffing you'd like to share with me? You don't have to tell me the recipe.
No, it is a recipe that my mom created. You know, both my parents were from South Carolina, so they were used to eating rice a lot. So it is a base with white rice, sage, sausage.
You don't have to give me the whole recipe, but it sounds wonderful though.
The aroma alone.
So listen, I'm coming to your house for Thanksgiving. So what's the one thing you're looking forward to in the next few months?
In the next few months, again, getting out into these counties. I want to really hit the ground in these counties upstate. I have never been to a county fair, and I've never had a corn dog. So
oh my God,
let's go.
The state fair! I see you going there, and I see you with a corn dog in each hand.
I can't wait.
And don't forget the butter sculptures. So, just one last question: do you have any advice for the new council speaker?
You know, it is, you can look at it, you know, from the outside looking in. You really don't know the capacity of the role until you are in it.
Yeah.
And I realize that, you know, things happen. Every session is different, completely different. Corey Johnson's session was different than Adrienne Adams' session. Julie Menon's session will be different than Adrienne Adams' session. Make sure that you are fortified with really, really good staff around you. They are going to be the infrastructure that you will rely on as speaker.
Adrienne Adams, running for Lieutenant Governor. Good luck.
Thank you.
I hope we'll get you back real soon.
Absolutely.